Like a broken spear reaching high into the sky, the Arkenspire is a black reminder of a time when Sarah walked the world and her wretched followers waged war on the living. Where it was once a glowing tower lancing into the heavens, filled with the loyal minions of the Lich Queen, it is now home of vagrants, unmentionables, tramps, and other monstrosities. In the age gone by, it was a symbol of how the hardest battles Aridica ever suffered were because of the trials and tribulations of powerful beings from above as much as below. The undying demi-goddess of dark magic and her manipulative, flesh-shaping offspring, Kretch, were instrumental in the erection of the Arkenspire. It is said that they used its unique architecture to stitch together the world of mortals and the Arkenhold, the shadowy planar prism realm that holds the demand spirits yet to fully leave life or find rest in death. If the two realms are anchored to one another by spiritually powerful locations, like knots between two ropes, the Arkenspire would be akin to a braid. For the last several months, there's been far more noticeable activity in the dreary lands surrounding Arkenspire. Throngs of monsters and unscrupulous things have begun to gather near its towering immensity, and all those who live in or around its shadow have turned their attention on survival. The people of Aridica are no strangers to conflict, especially the inhabitants of Nethermoor, and threats from the creatures of the land. But even the dullest among them can tell when the natural order of things has been upset, and the dark places of that much deeper. Something both great and terrible is happening, and it is somehow based around the Arkenspire. This is why once again your deeds have placed you in the fateful path of wondrous, life-changing things. So both Barrett and I have not finished the base campaign, so we'll just continue moving forward. The Arkenspire's recent flare of activity has many adventurous souls, including yourself, trotting the muddy flats between the city of men, bury folk, and even elves, so long as no one treks too close to the Nethermoor. Only the bravest and most curious heroes tighten their cloaks to fend off the supernatural cold that rolls in from the land of the vile. A cold, frankly, that you can feel all too deeply at this exact moment. How far have you wandered from the main road? When did you last see the signs of the Vehariel? Oh hells, all 9 of them. Did you cross the Black Peat border? So now what we need to do is pick out our heroes and then do a test of our willpower, and if at least half of us pass, we'll go to 001, otherwise we'll go to 002. Barrett is going to be playing Van Geyser for our campaign. He has a willpower of 2. Let's go ahead and roll 2 dice. We'll give him a roll, and we have 2 successes and a burst, so that means we can roll in another one, and we have a total of 3 successes, so he has passed. I'll be playing Willow Banks, the bard of the group. I also have willpower of 2. Let's give our 2 dice a roll, and I have only 1 success, so that means I technically failed. Since half of us succeeded rounding up, we'll go ahead and move to 001, and I'm assuming I get to claim a focus. It doesn't take too many retraced steps and retaken turns, but you find your way back to the main path, as it can scarcely be called a road, and you navigate the rest of the evening well enough to stay out of the moors of the Black Peat. Too many dangerous things lurk in that horrid place, and there would be no way you could sleep the whole night through. Here, however, this will be a good place to set up camp. We can either now choose to push on a little farther up the path, just to be sure before making camp, or we can just go ahead and settle in for the night and get a full night's rest. I think let's go ahead and push on a little further up the path, just to be sure before making camp. It was worth the effort moving farther away from the edge of the Black Peat. A nice dry campsite for a few hours less sleep is better than trying to sleep all through the night on the wet bog surrounded by nightmares. So we're going to gain a card from the campaign pool called Well Rested. We'll add it to our journal. This card states here, after setting up the next quest or encounter, each hero gains 1 focus. Then return this card to the story deck. Great, so we'll each start with 1 focus. The breaking sun slices through the morning fog like a mithril blade, prying open your eyes as easily as a pair of rusted hinges. After stretching sore muscles and packing up everything you can from the site, it's time to move on to the roadhouse of Velrir. Velrir, built by a coalition of local elder races, is a kind of sprawling stone structure halfway between a fortress and a hostel that has served for centuries as a way station for adventurers heading to the Arkenspire. It is normally dotted with the steeds and wagons from travelers coming through the area, but as you approach, you know something is wrong. Clouds of buzzing carrion flies swarm over the corpses of horses and their fallen defenders, and the heavy oaken door of Evelrir lay in splinters in the front landing. The entrance lies open, ringed with shards of shattered door and yawnings like the maw of a beast. There are footprints, the bloody footprints of an old man, that flee at a running pace into the darkness, as well as the claw-toed tracks of what went in after him. Chapter 1. Weapons drawn, you step into the yawning entrance of the Velrir. There were once tables and chairs arranged in large public hall that welcomed dozens of Elvenai, Krazak, and Buryfolk, and other Aridikins. Now, however, it is a little more than a mess of broken furniture, splashes of split stew mixed with blood and a few scattered weapons, as well as the dancing shadows from a flickering fire in the hearth. Slowly turning in place, just a few steps inside of this historic building, your eyes adjust to the erratic darkness and take in every nook and cranny. A savage battle took place here, and, telling from the thick globs of cool stew and half-coagulated gore not too long ago, something came through here and spared nothing the touch of their weapons. Even with all the signs of a brutal raid, there seems to be no bodies of neither attacker nor defender. Whoever came out on top in this conflict not only took everyone involved captive, but they also claimed the casualties from both sides. A large pair of double doors the way down into the cellar rooms of an ancient Velrir stand ajar. Slimy, smeared prints of some kind mar the brass edging on the huge wooden slabs, and a clear set of human footprints in the dirt and filth on the threshold lead down the granite stairs into the darkness below. There was at least one survivor from this devastation, it seems, and they fled down below. There has to be clues as to who did this and why, but is there really time to search for them? So we have first perform the first two steps of normal game setup, then choose one of the following. Take the time to search the room for clues, or no time to drag your feet, someone needs your help, rush down to the lower floor. I always feel like getting clues is helpful. It might hurt us in the game, but maybe in the actual campaign it'll help us. So let's go to 007. You spread out, looking for anything that might help you figure out who and what attacked here and why. Picking up debris, brushing walls, covering aside, and righting tables that have been toppled. You go over the entire room. You're about to give up on the search and head below when a strange donk sound echoes out from inside the pantry behind the bar. Preparing for battle, you knock aside the thin pantry door to reveal a young, as far as you can tell, Krazak lass doing her best to cradle a wounded arm in a makeshift bandage. "Please don't hurt," she cringes, expecting the worst. Seeing that you are not the attackers from before, she steps out and points at a kitchen knife, still slick from reddish ichor, toward the double doors leading to the cellar rooms. "The old sage, the one from Luxon, he ran downstairs, but they were right behind him." The knife started to quiver and her head lowered slightly. "I should have tried to help him, but, she swallowed back her shame. "You need to go save him. He's just an old man. Here, take this." Add a potion of healing search card to the journal. Oh, nice. That means we'll get to start the game with this consumable that someone can use. Choose a character within range to heal 3 damage. The many rooms under the Velrir lay out before you like cobblestones on a mysterious road, torches lighting most of the area you can see while casting shadows into which you cannot. You can hear the edges of beastly sounds echoing down the halls and behind the doors, some sounding much closer than others. Then you hear another sound cut through all the rest. "No!" A raspy man's voice shouts from somewhere deep in the Velrir. "Get back, you altar-licking, lich-loving bottom feeders!" No time to waste. We're going to set up our first quest, the Rescue. We have our threat deck, we can choose any but the Profaned, and our villain, we can choose any but the Nethander. These are ones that came with this Arkenspire expansion. We are going to replace the Prisoner ally with Hugh. If you've played the base campaign, I've started, I haven't finished, but if you've played it, you might know Hugh. So we're going to grab Hugh that we are going to be trying to save. Here we have our quest, the Rescue. I'm not going to read the flavor text because we understand what we're doing from the campaign itself. Setup. Remove each objective card from the quest deck and randomly place one objective card in each hero's threat area. Remove the rest from the game. Here we have the 4 objective cards. I'm going to randomly shuffle them up and give one to Barrett and one to myself. Barrett is going to have the Altar-Bound Shard, and I'm going to have Distract the Guards. These are going to be placed into our threat areas. Next, we need to remove the Prisoner, but instead of the Prisoner, we're going to use Hugh from the quest deck and place it in the villain play area. So Hugh is in the villain play area. We're then going to remove each shackle card from the quest deck, and these look like this. They say shackle on them. I'm going to shuffle them up and reveal one and put it attached to Hugh. So we're going to pick this one. This one is the Subtle Disarming. The rest of these cards I'm simply going to place at the side of the table. If we end up needing another one, we'll draw from that deck. Finally, I need to grab the Cell quest card here, and I'm going to take 3 other random ones from the remainder of the quest cards. There'll be 8 of them, and I'm going to place them at the bottom of the quest deck. So we're going to have to get to at least the second set of 4 feature cards before we can actually find the cell where they've placed Hugh. If a hero controls Hugh and its token is adjacent to the altar and at least one hero with no enemies in the room, the heroes have won the game. So that's what we need to do. We need to find the altar, we need to find the cell, break free Hugh, run back to where the altar is, make sure he's adjacent and a hero with no enemies. Boom, we win the game. If Hugh is defeated, we have to place him back on his card, and his card will stay in the villain area, and we'll have to place another Shackles card on him, and we'll have to try and de-shackle him again. While there are objective cards in play, heroes cannot perform the interact on the shackle cards. So we need to do the things that are on those threat cards first before we can actually break Hugh free. This will then start our quest threat area, and it has this activate. I also randomly chose an altar already. We're going to use the Scorched Altar. So these 2 are in the quest threat area. The villain we're going to be playing against is Morgan. So Morgan, this has a setup here that says when creating the supply of focus, return all but 10 focus, because there's 2 heroes here, to the box. So we only have a total of 10 focus. She's going to try and steal our focus, and you'll see how that works over here. And it says here, anytime the heroes must place a focus on a new mask card and none remain in the supply, a hero or heroes must discard the required amount of focus in order to place it. So we have to actually lose our own focus for that. We're also going to play against one of the harder minion sets or threat decks, the Bray. I think they are really fun. They're a good challenge. Finally, we're playing with a slight variant. There's actually going to be 2 variants that we're going to play with. One is we're going to start off with a villain or an enemy upgraded card. You can see this here, enemy upgrade card. I've randomly chosen the Sinister Enchantments. So this says each time a minion spawns, so that's even if it's from the Lurker deck or from the threat deck, they're going to gain 1 armor token. And each time a rival, we don't have a rival, each time a villain spawns, it gains 2 armor tokens. So when Morgan does come out, she'll have 2 armor tokens. The other thing we're going to do, because we find it being a little bit more fun and a little bit more of a challenge, whenever we have to draw threats when we reveal a room, we're going to draw threats +1. So we're going to draw 3 cards instead of 2, just to add a little bit more of a challenge, because we find it's the right amount, at least from what we've done so far. Just like normal, I've taken 7 random feature cards. There are 2 that are in the Arkenspire expansion that have also potentially been included in these 7. And I'm grabbing the Altar Found card for a total of 8. I will shuffle these together. This specifically does not state from the quest card that I need to place it at the bottom of the deck like some of the quests do. I'm just going to shuffle it in there. Here we have the character I'm playing, Willow Banks. Now, Willow uses a specific type of token that you won't see unless you're playing with Willow, and that is the Melody token. These Melody tokens can be used in 2 different ways. One, I can give them to myself or another character, and we can use them as any rune symbol type that we would like. So if I wanted to use the ability here to exhaust water, and there wasn't any water in the altar pool, I could use this as a water symbol. Pretty cool. I can also give that to Van Geyser, and he can do the same thing. Conversely, I can actually give the enemies these Melody tokens as well. They're going to let me exhaust the minions. It's also going to, if the minion would use an altar die, it won't, and instead will discard one of the Melody tokens. I have a total of 12 of these in the supply, and they are super fun. So my 2 equipment that I start off with, I've got my Bury Loot here. I can take an action to test my Charisma, which actually is my best stat. For each success, we can place 1 Melody token on an enemy card or a hero card that's within the range of 5. And then, of course, I can exhaust this with water to choose a hero within range to gain 2 focus. That's pretty awesome. I do have a weapon. I attack with my agility, which is 2. I can also exhaust this with a wind to deal 1 damage to an enemy that's within range. I'll go ahead and draw 4 cards. I have the Rousing Finale. I have a Merry Minstrel. I have a Song of Violent Valor. And my final one, I have Inspiring Chorus. And I think I'm going to go ahead and mulligan the Rousing Finale, and I will just drop 1 more. I've got a Merry Minstrel. Then what I'll do is I'll put this card and shuffle it back into my deck. And remember, I took out all of the yellow colored cards, so the cards that have a yellow line like this, those are your upgraded cards. We'll earn those during this campaign. It's part of the reason why I wanted to show you the campaign. Over here we have Van Geyser. I'm also going to have Van Geyser start with the Potion of Healing. I'll place that over here. Van Geyser is all about bounties. It's really fun. The bottom of all of his cards of his deck, generally, not all of them, but most of them are actually bounties that you can place on enemies, and then we gain benefits on them either by when we defeat them, or maybe it makes us easier to defeat them. Pretty cool. He's got 2 swords as his equipment. So this one lets him attack with his strength, which is, or I should say might, which is 2. This one attacks with the agility, which is 2. They each can exhaust to do different effects. He also can exhaust here to move up to 2 spaces, and then you may attach a bounty card from your hand to an enemy within range. Also really cool. So Bernd will go ahead and draw the Persistent Tracker for 1. And then for number 2, we have the Elder Grit. Oh, that's great for healing. We've got the Discerning of the Prey for number 3. And then for our 4th one, we've got Stern Clairvoyance. And I think he's going to keep all 4 of those. Let's then give our altar dice a roll. We've got some shadow, a couple light, and a fire. Bernd and I have decided we're going to start off in the same room as our last playthrough. Seems to make sense. We are running down the stairs. I think look at how tiny I am. I think I'm going to start right here, and Bernd, who's about 4 times the size of me, yeah, I love him with those swords. He's going to be right here. Let's go ahead and start the game. Bernd, I think you should start us. Let's do it.
Sadly, this time, Colin, I don't have my cat, but I'm still going to go charging through that door. We're going to go ahead and do a move action first, which means I can move 3 squares. 1, 2, and at this point, I'm going to go ahead and open that door.
Whenever you reveal a room, first thing you do is reveal a feature card, and we have a bookshelf. Nice, we like the bookshelf. When you're adjacent to the bookshelf, during the quest part of the phase, a hero adjacent to this feature can draw a card. You can also do an interact and do a search, which is also great, and it can help people draw a card. Our next card we need to draw is our quest card, and we have the Torture Room. That sounds glorious, so it sounds terrible. Dying lanterns cast grasping shadows across the gruesome display. Much blood has been shed in these confines already, and screams of anguish, no doubt, instruments of torture litter the room, along with various remains of once living things. Oh gosh, that's terrible. Thoughts of torture being visited upon the one you seek are hard to put to rest, but they will not serve anyone now. What's done is done, and daylight awaits. When revealed, if Hugh is not on the board, he's not. Deal 1 damage to Hugh. Hugh will have a total of 6 health remaining. He has 7 in total, so he'll have 6 health remaining. We don't have to do the second part because no one controls the prisoner. So let's go ahead now and draw our threat cards. And remember, we're drawing threat cards plus 1, so normally you'd only draw 2. We're going to draw 3. The first threat card will be for Bernd, and he has the Fire Spray. This is a trap. When you get within 1 space of it, it's going to trigger. Suffer 1 damage and place 1 threat token on this room's feature card. You'll see what that means in a bit. You can interact with this and task with your willpower, and we have to get 4 successes to get rid of it. So this will be placed in his threat area. The second one will be for me. I will have a Bray Moltenite. Now this one has 2 armor, but because of the sinister enchantments, he's going to come in with 1 armor token. And then our third one will be for Bernd, and he will have a Bray Flame Shaper, and this one also will come in with 1 armor token.
First, we're going to go ahead and place out our feature, which is the bookcase. Then we've got our trap, which is right here. This trap is going to be placed adjacent to this feature and as close as it can to me, which means it's only 1 square away. Oh, that's not too good. Next, we're going to go ahead and place the Moltenite that Colin drew right here, and then my Flame Shaper is going to go adjacent to that as well. Now that we have our room populated, let's continue. Since that trap is right in front of us, I wanted to stop my movement before we get to it because I have Stern Clairvoyance, which has a range of 4 and as a reaction, so this is not actually an action. It says play this card after a trap is placed, and we just did that on the board. Choose a hero within range to move up to 3 spaces, ignoring the trigger effect. Then that hero may place 2 progress on an adjacent trap. So our Fire Spray is going to gain 2 of these progress tokens. There's only 2 more left to get rid of it. So our Stern Clairvoyance does give us the ability to move. Now, of course, I do have to end next to that Flame Spray in order to be able to place those 2 progress. So we're going to go ahead and stop right there. We're next to the bookshelf, the Flame Spray, and check this out. We're going to be able to also attack our enemy. Now that we have finished that, I'm going to go ahead and use the bottom part here, taking our altar die with darkness and be able to give myself a focus. Now, sadly, Colin is not in range, so he can't gain the focus, but at least I get one focus. And then we're going to go ahead and discard our card. So we're going to go ahead and re-roll that die, and we have fire. Oh, that's terrible, because guess who likes fire? All the bad guys. And of course, I am going to gain that one focus, bringing myself to 2. For my second action, I'm going to go ahead and interact with this flame spray, and to do that, I need to test my will. Now, of course, we have a will of 2, so we're going to go ahead, roll our 2 dice, and see how things go. Well, check it out. We got a success, and we also got at least 1 focus that I can spend, but then I'm also going to gain 1 back. So we did get our 2 successes, bringing ourselves to 4. Having completed the trap, we do get to take 1 supply. So that was a really good turn. Before we go to the board and take out the trap, I do want to play this card as well. It's called Discerning the Prey. I can go ahead and test my intellect, and for each success, I'm going to reveal the top card of my deck. And for each bounty card revealed, I can attach that to an enemy within range, which is 4. Shuffle each of the other revealed cards back in your deck. Now, sadly, we don't have water, so I can't do the bottom part of this card, but I still think it's going to be awesome. Now, my horse's intellect is 2. He's a pretty smart horse. He's kind of like Mr. Ed. We're going to go ahead and roll these up and see how we do. Oh, check it out. We got 2 bursts. We're going to go ahead and roll a couple more. These are all awesome successes. I love it. All right, we got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're still rolling more. Here we go. Okay, that's awesome. We get 2 focus and 4 successes. We had a monstrous roll, and for that I'm going to get my 2 focus tokens. Then I get to draw the top 4 cards of my deck, and for each bounty revealed, we get to go ahead and put that on. Of course, we started without one, but that's okay. I'm sure there's got to be one in here. Nope, so far we're batting on 0. All right, here we go. We've got a bounty. I can attach this card to an enemy within range and reduce the attached enemy's defense by a value of 1, and that's a 4 range. That's going to be awesome. And then, oh, look at that. We got 2 of them. That's going to be amazing. Now, I don't think our Flame Shaper has much defense, but that's okay. If we can put these on, that's going to be awesome. So we're going to take the 2 that didn't have any bounties on them and shuffle them back in our deck. And after looking more at it, we realized that the Moltenator has 2 defense. So we're going to stick both of these on it, bringing its defense to 0. We're going to go ahead and remove our Flame Spray from the board. And then since we don't really have any other cards that are going to attack, I'm just going to go ahead and use our swords to see how badly we can damage our enemy that I'm adjacent to. Now, before we actually make the attack, I do want to actually activate both of my swords, Dawn's Edge and Dustfall. Just in the rare instance, I may roll a million bursts and kill her before we can activate these swords. The reason I'm doing that is because I can exhaust this sword and this to be able to deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. And then I can change 1 other altar dice to our darkness symbol. And then we're going to be able to go over with Dustfall and do pretty much the same thing, exhausting this die and turning this one to light. That way we get rid of both the fire, which is absolutely bad news for us, and we've done 2 damage to our Flame Shaper. We do have to go ahead and re-roll those 2 altar dice that we used. So oh no, we got our fire back. Well, that's okay. 1's better than 2. Now, of course, our Brave Flame Shaper did take 2 damage, but she still is going to keep that armor because the damage is actually just dealing damage. Now, at this point, I can choose to either attack with Dawn's Edge or Dustfall, and both of them I have a 2 in the stat, so it's not really going to matter too much. So I like the name Dawn's Edge better. We're going to attack with that sword. So I get my 2 dice, which is going to be using my Might skill. And we're going to roll them up, and well, that wasn't as good as we did for the other roll, but that's okay. We got a focus and a hit, so at this point, I'm doing nothing because she has the armor. So we're going to go ahead and use the focus to actually remove this token and at least deal 1 damage. Hopefully, we can have the Bard come in and take this person out. Since it's now the end of my turn, I'm going to go ahead and draw a card, and we have found Persistent Tracker, which is going to be pretty awesome.
Moving to my turn, first thing I'm going to do is play a feat card. Now, this is something that we did wrong in the last playthrough, so I want to call this out. You can only play feat cards during your turn. You can play them, they're not in action, but you can only play them during your turn. So I'm going to play this one. I'm going to test my charisma, which is 3. For each success, you may place 1 melody token on a hero character card or an enemy card. Sweet. I also have here, and I'm going to exhaust this earth to choose a hero to perform an action. I'm going to go ahead and have Van Geyser do an action after I do my test. I'll roll my 3 dice and that 1 altar die. Let's see what we get. Wow, 1 success and 2 focus. I have 2 focus. I really want melody tokens. How many melody tokens do I want? I really wanted a lot. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to spend both focus so I can get 3 melody tokens. If you look here, there is no range on this card. Since I'm playing this playing my loot, I'm able to give those melody tokens to anyone. This means I'm going to give 2 melody tokens to myself, and I'm going to give 1 over to Bernd.
Thanks, Colin, for giving me an action. I'm going to go ahead and use our supply since you gave me an awesome action. And on this time, we're going to use Dustfall since Dawn's Edge didn't actually do as well as I was hoping. This one attacks with agility. I only have 2 agility, but using that supply gives us that extra die. So let's go ahead and roll these up and get some good numbers. Now, I could use 2 focus to kill off this character that we're fighting, but I don't want to do that. We are going to use 1, though, to give our Flame Shaper 3 damage. I am going to take back this focus from over here, and then I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Van Geyser. Van Geyser down here has an exhaust ability where he can move up to 2 spaces, and then I may attach a bounty card from your hand to the enemy within range. And I've got an awesome card right here to attach. I'm going to attach Persistent Tracker to our Flame Shaper that only has 1 health. And when I attach this card to the enemy in the room, after the attached enemy is defeated, we could gain 1 additional supply. And now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and reroll our altar die and hopefully not see fire. Oh, we see fire.
Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to exhaust my Bury Loot. Here's the thing, I need water. We of course keep rolling fire, thanks Baron, to not water. So I'm going to use a melody token for this. But I can choose a hero within range. I'm going to choose myself since I don't have any focus, and I'm going to gain 2 focus for that. Then I'll discard this melody token. I'll now spend my first action to move 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to jump into this room, hanging out with Bernd. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to exhaust my Willow's Slingshot here. I'm going to have to use my second melody token to be able to do this. I can deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. 1 damage, just enough to take out the Flame Shaper. Now remember, when we take out that Flame Shaper, normally we get 1 supply, but because of the bounty that Bernd put on it, we're going to gain 2 supply. So we went from no supply to 2 supply. Sweet. We'll remove that Flame Shaper from the board. Let's see, what do I want to do for my second action? Next, I'm going to play my Inspiring Chorus for action 2. I can choose a hero within range. That hero may move up to 3 spaces and gain 1 melody token. I think I'm going to have Van Geyser do that, but I'm also going to use the light here to have each hero within range, which includes myself, gain 1 armor token. So now we each have 1 armor token. We'll reroll that altar die and we get some more light.
Thanks to Colin, I now have 2 melody tokens, and I'm sure people have already figured out that Colin really didn't have to do this. I should have been able to move 2 squares when I exhausted him, but I failed to do that, so Colin saved me and has allowed me to move 1 square closer to our enemy.
I've done this once already. Let's go ahead and do it again. Let's have another Merry Minstrel. And did you guys notice in this art? Look, Bernd is here listening to my music. It's so awesome. Okay, we're going to test our Charisma again, which is 3. For each success, you may place 1 melody token on a hero, character card, or an enemy card. Then I'm hoping that I at least get 1 of those so I can use 1 as an Earth, since we can't seem to roll Earth, and choose a hero to perform an action. I'll give my dice a roll here, and we have 2 successes and 1 focus. Let's go ahead and use 1 focus here, so I'm going to gain 3 melody tokens. I'm going to give all 3 to myself because I use them the most. I will discard 1 then immediately to be able to use this second effect to choose a hero to perform an action. And you know who it's going to be. It's going to be Bernd.
With the action Colin is giving me, because he's such a nice guy, I'm going to go ahead and use Dawn's Edge. It did okay. We're going to hopefully do it again. I am going to use 1 of our supply to go ahead and grab our 3rd die. Now, of course, we do have 2 supply, but you can only ever use 1 at a time. So I'm going to roll my 3 dice and see what we get. Come on, bursts. Well, that wasn't exactly the roll I was hoping for, but that's okay. We're going to use 1 of our focus tokens, bringing us to 3 successes. And so that's going to remove his armor token, and he's going to gain 2 damage. Remember, we have 2 bounties on there that are nullifying all of his armor. Oh, these bounties are absolutely amazing.
For my final action, I'm going to use my Slingshot. David against Goliath here. I'm a teeny tiny little bard chucking a rock at this huge Moltenite. I am also going to use a supply. Normally my agility is 2, so I'm going to roll 3 dice for this attack. I need 4 successes, so I need a burst here if I can. And I'm going to roll all of those off, so let me re-roll these 2 in. I've got a burst, so that's 3 successes. I need 1 more to take them out. Oh, that's a focus, but I have 1 focus left. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 4 successes, just what we need. He's got 2 damage on him. 4, he's done. That's going to get us this supply back, and he's off the board, so no threats will activate. I've completed my turn, so I'll go ahead and draw a card, and I have the Braving the Dark. Now that's what you call cleaning house. Look at that. 3 threats all taken care of right before the threats activate. I am not a sad person. We'll now move to the threat phase of the turn, and we have Bernd here. He's going to have to test his agility. If he gets 2 successes, he's good. If he fails, though, he has to place 1 search token on his room's feature card. For me, all I'm going to do is place one quest token on this card. Then if there are 3 or more on here, I'm going to discard those 3, and I'm going to draw 1 lurker card.
We're going to go ahead and test our agility, rolling 2 dice. Come on, we need 2 successes. Oh, we got a burst and a success, which means we're gold. Now we're almost looking for some of those focus tokens. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and take one of those. Boom.
Now we'll move to the villain phase, and you can see here, activate. Place 1 focus on a new mass card. Can't do that. If unable, each hero discards 1 focus. I don't have any. Unfortunately, Barrett has 3, so he's going to have to discard 1. He now has 2.
But I just got that focus token.
And it's gone. It's gone. There's no water. You can see here in our altar pool, we have no water, thank goodness, so that's not going to happen. Hugh doesn't have any effect right now because he's not in play. So then we're just going to draw our Morgan's first card, and it says each hero must either move 1 of their focus to a new mass card, or we have to resist with our Fortitude 5. Each focus gained during this test must be placed on a new mass card instead. So there's no new mass card at all, so I think we can ignore that part, but we have to do a resist 5. For any amount that we don't succeed on that resist of 5, we take as damage. Even though we each have 1 armor, or actually, yeah, we both have 1 armor. Even though we have that armor, it's not going to help us. Resist goes through your armor.
Our horse is going to go ahead and roll first. He's going to see how he does. Now, of course, this is his best stat. He's got 3. He's going to roll him up, and he's got a burst, and that's good stuff. We're going to see what we get next. Oh, we got another burst. Oh, this guy's on fire. Well, actually, I hope he's not on fire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got our 5 successes, so I'm also going to gain a focus token. That's going to be awesome. Thanks a lot, Colin.
Now, unfortunately for the Bard, Fortitude is only a 2. Yeah, so let's see how well I can do on this. I'll roll. Oh, I've got a burst. I'll take that. Love bursting dice. Okay, so I only have 2 successes. That means I'm going to take 3 direct damage. I only have 10 health, you guys, so that puts me down to 7. But I will gain 2 focus, which is nice because I had none. So I've gone back to 2 focus. Finally, we'll go to the quest phase. This activate states that if a hero controls Hugh, which no one has control of Hugh, then we have the Scorched Altar here. Each hero may discard 1 focus to change an altar die to a result of their choice, and we're both going to do that. We'll each discard 1 focus, changing the 2 fire that we have in the altar pool. We're going to change 1 to earth and 1 to wind. Now that means when we look at the bottom here, each figure suffers 1 damage if there was fire in the altar pool. There isn't. So that's the advantage of doing that. We're pretty sure you can do that. It makes the most sense. Finally, we have our bookshelf. And right now, Bernd is adjacent to the bookshelf. That means each, it says a hero, not each. A hero adjacent to this feature may draw a card. So he will draw the Stern Clairvoyance. That'll end our first round of the campaign. Let's go ahead and start round 2.
Going into round 2, we have decided that I am going to go first yet again, just because I've got 2 giant swords, and besides, I'm bigger than she is. I'm going to go ahead and use my first action to be super triumphant, and I'm just going to search the bookshelf.
Don't forget that Bernd has the altar-bound shard, and this says each time you search, you may discard up to 2 successes to place 1 progress token on this card for each success you discard. He needs a total of 6 to get rid of this. Since he's doing that search, he's doing it as an interact with the bookshelf. So he's going to be searching with his intelligence. For each supply gained during this test, choose a hero that's in this room to draw a card. Oh, that's a great ability too.
Now remember, Mr. Ed has only an intelligence of 2, so I'm going to go ahead and use one of our supplies to gain our 3rd one. And I know his name's not Mr. Ed, but it's fun to say. We're going to go ahead and roll our 3 dice and see how it goes. We got a total of 2 successes, and I think I will go ahead and use that focus token to get us 3 because this seems like a really good thing to search. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and grab our card from searching. And we have found an improvised shield. Gain 2 armor tokens and discard this card. That's perfect for me because I'm a lot of the time in the action. So here are my 2 armor tokens. I will put them on my guy, giving me a total of 3. Now, I know we talked about the altar-bound shard that I should probably be working towards, but this is a really good thing to search. We're actually just going to go ahead and take the 2 supply, and then we also get to draw a card as well. And the card I got is Road Warden, and Colin is going to go ahead and gain Lingering Melody. And since we successfully searched the bookshelf, we are going to go ahead and place a token on it, making it a little bit harder to search next time. For our second action, I'm going to go ahead and just move. And that's going to be able to let us reveal a new room. I'm going to move 1 over here, revealing that room. Thank you, Colin.
The feature card that we have found will be a cage. This has an activate. A hero adjacent to this feature may reveal the top card of the threat deck and then place it on top or bottom of the deck. We also have a really cool interact here. I hope we get to do that during the game. Next is our quest card, and we have Sudden Panic. Sudden Panic overcomes the prisoner. When revealed, attach this card to the prisoner. While this card is attached to the prisoner, they cannot move or be moved by any hero card effects. And then we can choose one of these things, and if any of the tests pass, we can actually discard this card. So Hugh is going to be a little bit more nervous. Finally, we'll do our threat cards. Remember, we're doing threat +1. So our first one is another fire spray. Okay, so fire spray for Bernd, since he opened the door. For me, we're going to have another Bray Flame Shaper. And then for the third one, we have Raging Fires. Each hero must place one threat token on their room's feature card. Now, that's our current room. That's the bookshelf. That's not the cage, because we're in the bookshelf room right now. I'll be placing 2 threat tokens here onto the bookshelf. It also says each hero with a copy of a fire spray in their threat area, that would be Bernd, must place 1 threat token on its room's feature card. So remember that cage we just drew? That cage will also have 1 threat token. Consider threat in this scenario as fire, essentially. Oh, the bookshelf's on fire. That's not good. Then each character suffers 1 damage for each threat token on their room's feature card. So we have 2 threat tokens in the bookshelf's room, so both of us are going to suffer 2 damage. That's going to put me to 5 damage. Bernd over here will have his first 2 points of damage. He'll have 10 health left. Now, something I didn't show you guys at the beginning, threat tokens. Threat tokens represent the raging fire the Bray leave in their wake. Once during your turn, a hero may discard 1 focus to test their intellect. For each success, the hero may discard 1 threat token from their room's feature card. At the end of each hero's turn, they suffer 1 damage for each threat token on their room's feature card. So that's why if we end our turn in the room with the cage, we're going to suffer 1 damage. Heck, if we ended our turn in the room with the bookshelf, we'd suffer 2 damage. But we can get rid of them by discarding a focus and testing our intellect. We'll place that cage right here, and that fire spray is going to be placed right here, which is going to be essentially adjacent to Bernd. It's kind of tight in here. And then that fire enemy over here is going to spawn in this spot way back over here. And don't forget, she has 1 armor.
The Bray thought they were pretty tricky by putting that fire spray right in front of me, but check it out. Again, we have that Stern Clairvoyance card, which I'm able to play after the trap is placed on the board. Now I get to choose a hero within range to move up to 3 spaces, ignoring trigger effects, and then that hero may place 2 progress on an adjacent trap. So let's go ahead and do that. The Stern Clairvoyance allows me to choose either person. I know I said I put 2 progress on it, but I actually changed my mind. We actually are going to go ahead and move Colin's character 1, 2, 3, who now is still adjacent. So we do get to still put the 2 progress on the trap. I just wanted to understand that we're actually using that character to do it instead of mine. Now, of course, the bottom of our text allows us to each hero within range gains 1 focus if I use that die. So Colin and I are both going to gain a focus token, and I'm going to go ahead and re-roll this altar die.
Don't forget that although I cannot move diagonally through the door, this is still considered an adjacent space. Technically, if I could attack this fire spray.
So now we're going to go ahead and re-roll that altar die. And look, I got some water. Colin's a huge fan of water.
I'm so happy with water.
Being that this is in our way, I'm going to go ahead and use my 3rd action to use our intellect to try to get rid of this trap. I think that's our best bet. So I'm going to go ahead and roll them in there. I got a burst and an actual success. So we've gotten what we needed. Now we're just looking for maybe some focus. Oh yeah, check it out. I get a focus for that as well. We successfully got rid of this fire spray, which means we do get to gain 1 supply. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to our other 2, giving us a total of 3. And now with my next action, well, actually I'm out of actions, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use one of those melody tokens that Colin was so nice to give me to exhaust my character to allow me to move 2 spaces, and then I can attach a bounty card from my hand to an enemy within range. Well, there aren't going to be any in range, but I want to get out of this room because this thing is on fire, and that is bad news. So I'm actually going to move into this room and then move another square over here. Now, as a non-action, I'm going to try to get rid of the fire that is on that cage. So we're going to go ahead and use one of our focus tokens and do an intellect test and see how this goes. Come on, we need at least 1 success. We got 2 successes, and I'm probably going to get my focus token back. I don't see why not.
The first action I'm going to take is moving into this room. I'll move 1, 2, and I think that's it. I'd love to move 3, but of course Bernd's in the way. So I'm going to move here for action 1. I'm by the cage. I'm going to go ahead and hammer on the cage to try and distract that blasted flame shaper over there. So I'm going to interact with this. If you are in the same room as an enemy, you may task with your charisma to distract the guards. I'm looking to get 6 successes. So normally I roll 3 dice. I'm going to discard 1 supply to roll 4 dice for this. Maybe I can even bang this out in 1 roll. I'll roll my 4 dice for this, and that's terrible. I'll have to use 2 focus to just even get 4 successes. Do I want to do that? So that wasn't nearly as good as what I was hoping for. So instead, I'm going to use 1 focus. So I have 3 successes. That's 3 out of the 6 that I need. I'll then gain this focus back as well. I'm going to go ahead and then exhaust my loot. So this isn't an action to choose a hero within range to gain 2 focus. I'm going to choose myself. So I have 4 focus here. Hopefully that's going to make this a guarantee if I do this again. Oh, that's Earth. That's awesome. So then I think for my final action, I am just going to try and distract the guards again. This is going to be a charisma test. I'm just going to roll 3 dice. I have 4 focus. Come on. We have 2 more successes plus the 3 that are there. That's not enough. So I'll use 1 focus to get 1, 2, 3 successes, and then I'll actually gain 2 focus back, which gives me the max of 5 focus that I can have. And that means Distract the Guards has been completed, and we don't have to worry about a lurker card. Heck yeah. I'm then going to exhaust my songs from home. Whole reason why I wanted to have this wind. I can place 1 melody token on a hero character card or an enemy card. So I'll go ahead and give it to myself. That gives me 3 of those. I'll have to re-roll this wind. And we get fire. Seriously, I had to roll the fire now? This will end the hero phase, and both Barrett and I will draw 1 card. I get the battle hymn, and what do you get?
I got Marked Prey. Oh, that's going to be so good. Wait till you see what this does.
Before we move to the enemy phase, I'm actually, instead of giving this melody token to myself, I'm going to give it to the Bray Flame Shaper, so that way she does not activate her effect, because her effect is pretty terrible. So I'm going to give that to her.
Moving into the threat phase, I'm the only one now with 1 of these cards, so I'm going to have to go ahead and test 2. And if failed, I'm going to place 1 search token on the room's feature card. So we're going to go ahead and roll them up and hopefully get 2 successes. Oh, not only get 2 successes, I got a focus token as well. Boom!
Next, we're going to activate the Bray Flame Shaper. So it says here, she's going to try and engage. She can move 4 spaces. She needs to be within range 6. And then she's going to inflict an attack of 6 with an agility for defense. If unable, it will engage again and then inflict with willpower of 4. Then place 1 threat token on this room's feature card. And normally, because there is fire here in the altar pool, she would do this effect. Instead, we'll just discard the melody token. I love that. With a range of 6, all she has to do is move up 2 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She definitely can see him. Even though he's trying to hide behind the cage, his sword is sticking out. She's going to go ahead and attack him, and he'll have to defend with his agility.
Van Gij's agility is 2, so we're going to roll up 2 dice. We got a burst and a success. That's fantastic. Keep this going. Okay, well, 1 burst is better than nothing. We got 3 successes, meaning we're going to block 4, 1 for the armor that I automatically have, and our 3 successes. Now remember, I've got a ton of armor tokens, so I'm going to soak up the last 2 damage with the armor tokens we have, leaving me with only 1 armor token. But I've taken no damage.
Morgan's going to go next. We're going to place 1 focused on a new mask card. We can't do that. Then we're each going to discard 1 focus token. That's going to put me down to 4 and Barrett down to 3. There's no water in the altar pool. So then we're going to draw her next card, and we have the new mask legacy. Place 1 focus on each new mask card. If no new mask card is in play, move the top new mask card in the villain discard pile to the villain play area. We don't have any in the discard pile. We are super lucky with her. Usually those new mask cards can be a huge pain, but that's all she's going to do. We'll now move to the quest phase. Here we activate if we control the prisoner. We don't. Each hero may discard 1 focus to change an altar die. I'll go ahead and discard 1 focus, putting me down to 3. I'm going to change that fire that we have over here. I'm going to change it over to a water because I like water much better. That means that now we have no fire in the pool, so this fire effect doesn't happen. And then we have the cage. A hero adjacent to this feature may reveal the top card of the threat deck and then place it on the top or the bottom of the deck. So our card here is another fire spray. Golly, those fire sprays. I think we definitely don't want it. Barrett's shaking his head no. So we're going to place this on the bottom of the deck. That'll end round 2. Let's start off with round 3, and I feel like Barrett's been doing great going first, so we'll have Barrett go first again.
Colin so graciously let me go first again. Oh, I love going first. I'm going to first off give him this potion of healing because he was such a nice guy. This is going to allow me to choose a character within range to heal 3 damage. So I'm going to go ahead and heal him 3. It's going to be fantastic. Now that is going to leave Colin with 2 damage on his character, but I think that's going to be a lot better than the 5 he originally had. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to interact with this cage, and we're going to use this search using my might. And it says here, if no figure is in the cage, choose a minion threat in this room. Place that figure in the cage and shuffle the threat card back into the threat deck. When this figure's card is drawn, this figure is spawned adjacent to this feature, as close to as many heroes as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this character into the cage, and we're going to use one of these supplies to make it happen.
Now, I do want to mention that this says minion threat, so that means you can only throw a minion threat, not a lurker, into the cage. You also, of course, can't throw the villain. Good luck throwing the villain into the cage. It probably just burst out.
So we're going to go ahead and roll our 3 dice for our search action. And we got 1, 2, 3 successes, and I could go ahead and use one of my focus tokens for a 4th success if I want to. And I think it will be wise to go ahead and use that focus token to get a 4th success. Now we're going to be able to put 2 progress on our actual ultra brown shard, because that's the most I can do. So we're going to add those there. So the other one we're going to gain is our search card, and then we're going to get a supply for the 4th success. So let's see what our search card is. We have found a potion of might. Oh, who would be more mightier than my horse? Before rolling dice for your test for might, I get to gain 2 more. Oh, that's going to be awesome. And now that we did search successfully, we have to add another token to this to make it harder. And of course, we can't forget that Von Geyser has gone ahead and thrown the Brave Flame Shaper into the actual cage. Goodbye. We're going to shuffle this back into the deck. So the coolest thing about this feature is we get to actually put the monster right inside. Check this out. Oh, goodbye, Mr. Flame Shaper. All right, that's our first action. Now, of course, our second action is we're going to go ahead and move. And I'm allowed to move 3 squares. 1, 2, 3, right down there, and we're going to open our next door.
First thing we'll do is we'll draw our feature card. Oh, and we have found the altar. Next, we'll draw our quest card, and we have the guard room. The unassuming room opens up to what appears to be a guard room of sorts with an altar inside of it. Various weapons and armaments adorn the walls, their glory forgotten ages ago, but more than suitable for crude work. The door creaks loudly despite the most valiant efforts of subtlety, and the sounds of alarm are taken up in the deep shadows. You struggle to hear the concerned voices beyond, but all you can make out is a simple "Intruders!" When revealed, if the prisoner's token is on the board, draw 1 lurker card and spawn it adjacent to the prisoner. Each enemy drawn when revealing this room gains 2 armor tokens. Then the active hero must test this. If failed, draw 1 villain card. So what this means for us is when we draw our threat cards, if we draw any minions, those minions are going to come out with +2 armor tokens, which means for us it's going to be 3 armor tokens. Then at the end of this, Barrett is going to have to test agility 2, and if he fails, we're going to have to draw a villain card. So our first one is the Raging Fires. Each hero must place 1 threat token on this room's feature card. So that would be the cage, because we're still in that room. And then it says no one has a fire spray, so we don't have to worry about that. Then each character suffers 1 damage for each threat token on that room's feature card. That means we're each going to suffer 2 damage. That means Van Geyser will have 4 damage, and I will have 4 damage. That's the first one. Great. Second one, we have Raging Fire. That's actually absolutely terrible. With this draw, it seems like the Flame Shaper is pretty pissed. She's placing 2 more threat tokens, you guys. That means 4 are now on the cage. 4 threat tokens. That means we each suffer 4 more damage. That means we each have 8 damage. I am 2 away from being killed, which would mean we'd lose this scenario. Our third one is, only a Bray Multonite with 2 armor, going to come in with 3 armor tokens. Wonderful, it's the blue one. That Multonite with 3 shield tokens and 2 armor is going to spawn right here. And we have our really cool looking altar. We're going to place that right here.
For my final action, I'm actually just going to go ahead and move. I know this seems really bad because we want to get to this guy and do some damage, but there's nothing I can do to actually get to him. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3 and stand next to this altar. And I don't know, I hope he doesn't hit us too hard. Before he hits me though, check this out. I do have a feat card that I'm going to play. So let's go ahead and resolve this. Elder Grit is going to be what Von Geyser is going to do. Now, this is a feat card, so it's not an action. And I'm going to be able to test my Fortitude at 3. If passed, I may heal 1 damage and gain 1 armor token. And if I do this with Flame, I can heal another damage and gain an armor token. Now, we don't have fire in the pool, but thanks to Colin's wonderful musical ability, I do have a token that I can use to give us this fire. Now, of course, Von Geyser's Fortitude is his best stat, so he's going to go ahead and roll the 3 dice, and he got exactly 3 successes, so we were able to pass, heal, and I'm going to gain an armor token. Now, of course, I'm also, like I said, going to use that wonderful musical ability and grab another armor token and heal myself 2 damage, leaving myself with only 6 total damage that I've taken. One thing we forgot to do, because there's so many moving parts in this game, is I do have to test 2 agility. So we're going to go ahead and roll those up, and I got 2 successes. A burst is one of them. So we're going to roll that die again if I can get it in the thing. There we go. Check it out. We got 1, 2, 3, and we get 2 focus tokens for this. Oh my gosh, Colin, I'm rolling focus tokens again. I've got my max of 5.
First thing I'm going to do for my turn is play my Lingering Melody card. So it takes an action to play this on the board. Then I'm going to exhaust it. I'm going to use this water symbol to simply move 1 space. I could instead exhaust it to roll 1 altar die and gain 1 melody token. I kind of preferred the movement this time. Then after that, after I've exhausted this, I am going to then use this to move up to 2 spaces and heal 2 damage. So this will heal 2 damage. I now only have 6 damage instead of 8, so I'm not 2 away from dying. But since I'm using the use effect, I have to discard this card. Remember, the use and the exhaust were not actions. The only action was to actually play this card out on the board. So I'm going to move a total of 3 spaces now and re-roll this die. I'll roll up this altar die, and it's Shadow. I'll go ahead and move 1, 2, 3 for that was my first action. My second action, I'm going to simply move in here. 1, 2, 3, moving right behind Barrent. What I'm going to do next is use my exhaust effect here. I'm going to give up this melody token since we never seem to roll wind. And I'm going to place 1 melody token on a hero character card or an enemy. I'm going to give this to Barrent. I want to heal it. Because then I'm going to play this one. Each hero, and this is a feat, so it's not an action. Each hero with a melody token heals 1 damage. So we're each going down. You have 5 damage, and I will have 5 damage. Beautiful. Then it says each enemy with a melody token. We don't have any of those. I'm not going to do the bottom of this one. Instead, I am then going to use my slingshot. I'm within range 5, so I can attack with my agility. I am going to use 1 supply, so I'm rolling 3 dice for this. And then I'm going to use my other melody token, so I will have none left, to also deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. So that means that Moltenite will have 1 point of damage on him, 5 health remaining, and I'm going to roll 3 dice for this attack. 3 dice for this attack. I'm just hoping to get rid of his armor, if I can. I've got 1, 2, I've got 1 burst here. Let's roll that in. Oh, nice. 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. He has 3 armor and then 2 regular defense. So let me see if it's worth it. Looking here, it's totally not worth to spend the 2 focus because he's got 2 armor, 2 regular armor. So I got rid of these 3. If I used 2 focus, all I do is hit his armor. Would do no damage to him. So instead, I'm going to gain those 2 focus. That's going to give me a total of 5 focus. And we each have 5 focus in total. That's pretty sweet. As usual, we forget to draw our cards at the end of our turns, so we're each going to draw a card. And I get the Rousing Finale.
Oh, and I got well equipped. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. This card gets to let me attack with both of my weapons, man. I'm going to start by going ahead and testing our Altar-Bound Shard. I have to test my agility too. Let's see how it goes. I got a burst. I also got a success, a focus, and we also got another success. Now, this was a burst and a focus, so I'm going to go ahead and give me that back because I like that way better than what I had when I hit the die. 1, 2, 3 successes, and I'm going to grab a focus token. Fantastic. Altar-Bound Shard has yet to hurt us. Now, of course, I forgot I actually have 5 already, so I can't gain any more focus, but of course, we still were able to appease our Altar-Bound Shard.
The next card to activate is this Bray Moltenite. He's going to engage, get within range 2 of Barrent, hit him over the head with his huge axe. Fortunately, though, he's defending with his Fortitude, which is 3 for him, and it's an attack of 5. And there's no fire in the altar pool, just because we haven't shown you guys the altar pool in a while. We've got 2 light, 2 earth, and a shadow. This Moltenite will move 1, 2. He's now within range 2. Yeah, that axe definitely can reach Barrent. Let's see this swing.
Of course, our Fortitude is 3, so we're going to roll them up, and we got 3 successes. So that means we're actually going to go ahead and take 2 damage from this attack, which is okay because I got a ton of armor. We have 1 innate armor, and I have a whole bunch of tokens, so we're just going to take 1 armor token and remove it, and that's going to be the end of his attack. I'm not too worried about this guy. I think he put himself in a bad place.
We'll move to the villain phase. There is no Newmast card in play, so we're each going to discard 1 focus. That means we each have 4. Then let's draw a Morgan card. And finally, we have a Newmast card. This card can only have up to 2 focus on it. Each time a hero would gain 1 supply, that hero may instead discard 1 focus from this card. Remember, our total supply of focus is only 10. She's going to slowly try and take it away from us. We have an interact here. The hero may discard 6 supply to discard this card. Wow, that's terrible. Finally, the quest phase. We can ignore this one. We still haven't found Hugh. He has been very hard to find. Then we go to the Scorch Altar. Each hero may discard 1 focus to change 1 altar die. I'm going to do that. I'm going to change this earth over here to a wind. I love that wind. Barrett's not going to do anything. And then we have each figure in the altar's room must either discard 1 armor card token or suffer 1 damage. Well, the nice thing is I have an armor, Barrett has an armor, but I took out all the armor of that Multonite, so now he's going to have 2 damage. Take that. There's no fire, so we don't have to worry about this one. That will end the altar phase. And by the altar phase, I mean the quest phase. That'll end turn 3. Let's move on to turn 4, and let's see what Barrett can do.
Colin again has graciously let me go first, and we're going to start by going ahead and searching that altar with my persistent tracker. This is going to use my fortitude, and when you may reveal the top card of the threat deck and then return it to either the top or bottom of the deck. So we're just going to go ahead and look at the top card of the threat deck, and it is a Braze Servant. I think I'm not too worried about the Braze Servant. What is it going to do? It's going to activate, engage, inflict Charisma 5 if unable to engage, and place 1 threat token on this room's feature card. Again, I think this guy's okay. After resolving this top part, we are going to go ahead and deal with this, which is why the die is sitting here. I'm going to be able to attach this card to an enemy in your room. And after the attached enemy is defeated, which you better believe I should be able to kill this guy, we're going to gain an additional supply. I'm going to go ahead and use one of our supply, adding an extra die. So we're rolling 4 dice and the altar die all at one time. Boom, let's see what we did. Oh, we only got 3. Oh, wow, that was actually a pretty terrible roll. We got 3 successes, and I can use a focus token. So we might as well, we've got a lot of them, to give ourselves 4 successes. Now, of course, what do you see in there that's not good? You got it, the fire symbol. We're going to have to deal with that somehow. Now, the first thing we're going to do is get our search card. We have found a potion of agility. It's very similar to our might potion. I'm going to be adding 2 dice when I do an agility test. Now, with all these successes, 4 being exact, I'm also going to go ahead and place 2 of our progress on our altar bound shard, meaning there's 4 on there now. We only have to do 2 more to get rid of the card. I'm going to place the token on our actual feature, and we do get 1 supply for our 4th success. The next thing we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and exhaust our character here, and we're going to use this melody token because there isn't any earth up in the actual pool. So I'm going to be able to move 2 spaces, and then you may attach a bounty card from your hand to the enemy within range. I'm not going to be doing the bounty card because I like all the cards I have, and I think we're going to be good enough to defeat this guy without that. But we're going to go ahead and discard our melody token. So we're going to go ahead and move those 2 spaces closer to the green room. For my second action, I'm going to go ahead and use my well-equipped card. I'm really excited for this card. It reminds me of my guy in Wizardry at the Blade Cuisinart. It says, resolve the action on your weapon card you control. Then you may move up to 2 spaces and resolve the action on your off-weapon card you control. Oh my gosh, it'd be so good. 2 attacks in 1 turn. Our first attack is going to be done with Dawn's Edge, and I'm going to use our supply to give myself 3 dice. Let's see how this goes. We got 1 burst, 1 hit, and we also got a focus. Let's see what else we get in this thing. Oh, we got 3 total successes and that focus token. Oh, you totally know I'm going to use the focus token. So we've done a total of 4. He has 2 armor, so that's going to negate 2 of the attacks. We're going to do 2 damage to our Bray Multonite. The next attack is going to be with Dustfall. That's going to be using our agility. So I'm only going to be rolling 2 dice. Let's see how this goes. I got 1 hit, and we also got a focus token, which I think we're just going to go ahead and take the focus token because sadly he's got 2 armor, so he'd be actually able to soak up all the damage. But I've got bad news for this guy. We've got Dawn Edge and Dustfall, and I can exhaust both of these swords to go ahead and do a damage to him. Check it out. I can exhaust this die to deal 1 damage to an enemy within range, and then change another altar die to a darkness symbol. That's fantastic. I'm going to do that. Then the next one we're going to use is this one. We're going to use that darkness symbol, and we're going to deal 1 damage to an enemy within range, and then change one of the other altar dice to a light. With this 2 damage that he can't stop with his armor, that is going to defeat our Moltenite, and we're going to gain 2 supply from that, 1 for killing him, and of course 1 from our persistent tracker that we had attached to him as well. So we're going to take those away. Now we do have to re-roll some of these dice because of course we use them. We're going to roll these 2 and see what they turn into. Hopefully not fire. Oh no, there's fire again. In the middle of our well-equipped action, for recording purposes, we did all the rolling off once, and now we're actually going to do the 2 movement. So we're going to move adjacent to him, and that's where we're going to make our second attack. That kills off our Bray Moltenite, but now, as a free action kind of, I can go ahead and open the door to the green room.
We'll start by drawing our feature card, and we have the Alchemy Desk. I want this desk! A hero adjacent to this feature may heal 1 damage. Sweet. Next, we'll draw our quest card, and we have the Turnkey's Chamber. By some stroke of luck, you have found the Turnkey's Chamber. The room is festooned with documents, maps, and keys, all at the desk, of course. All the information you could wish for during a rescue operation. When revealed, each hero may place 1 progress on an objective card in their threat area, so Barrett now has 5 on his instead of 4. Each hero who does not have an objective card in their threat area may gain 1 focus and 1 supply. So now we'll have 3 supply and I have 4 focus. Then we can attach this card to this room's feature, so it's going to be attached to the desk. Once during their act phase, a hero in this room may discard 1 focus to either place 1 progress on an objective card in their threat area or heal 1 damage from the actual prisoner. Well, I think we know what Barrett's going to be doing. However, we're not done. We need to reveal 3 threat cards. Our first one, we know what it is, the Bray Servant. Our second one will be green Bray Moltenite. Remember, all of these will come in with 1 armor token. And our third one, we have 3 enemies, the Bray Flame Shaper. We'll place that desk right here. Then we'll start with the small guy right here, followed by the big guy. I'd probably put him here, right next to where Barrett's going to come in. And the Flame Shaper would probably go behind. They just need to be adjacent to the spawn area.
For my third and final action, we're going to go ahead and use our Road Warden card here. You may move up to 2 spaces and attack with might. Then you may roll 1 altar die. We're probably not going to roll any altar dice. Then I can go ahead and use the fire die, which we have in the altar pool, to attach this card to an enemy in your room. And then each agility or intellect attack targeting that enemy gains +1 die. Now, of course, when I move into the room, I'm going to be able to activate this card right here if I want to, where it says, during their act phase, a hero in this room may discard 1 focus to either place 1 progress on an objective in their threat area or heal 1 damage from the prisoner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and discard the focus to gain the progress. That gives us 6. We have completed the Altar-Bound Shroud, mainly thanks to the feature that is inside this room. Oh, so good. Van Geyser's going to go ahead and move his 2 spaces, 1 through the door and then 1 next to the desk. And then he's going to make a crushing attack against that Bray Moltenite. When I said crushing attack, that is exactly what I'm going to do. I get 2 dice because of my might. Then I'm going to get 2 more because I've decided to use my potion of might, which gives me 2 more dice. I'm also going to go ahead and use a supply, giving me 1 more dice, and then we'll go ahead and roll the altar dice as well. Oh, look at this. A mountain of dice would be so much fun. Let's see how we do. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and one of them is a burst. Let's see what else we get. We got another one. So we got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. And I could go ahead and use my 2 focus to give us an extra 2 successes. So that brings our total success up to 6. So he's got 2 armor here. So now he's down to 4. He's going to use his armor token to 3, which means we've done 3 damage to that Bray Moltenite, which isn't too bad. He's half dead. And now that we've completed our attack, we could go ahead and add this bounty to him because we decided that it's probably best to put on this character because Colin attacks with agility and he could probably be able to try to take this guy out. That's going to end my turn, which means I get to go ahead and draw a card. And we've got, another Road Warden card. That's amazing.
First thing I'm going to do on my turn, use this wind, and I'm going to go ahead and exhaust myself the Song of Home so I can gain 1 melody token because I'm all out. I'll have to re-roll that altar die, and of course I get a fire. I'm then going to spend 2 of my precious actions moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get over to here. With my third action, I'll go ahead and play my Battle Hymn. I wonder what that sounds like. I'm going to attack with my agility. That's going to give me a 3 attack. Normally it's 2, but because of the bounty that's on the Moltenite, it's 3. Then I'm going to go ahead and discard this melody token so that I can add 1 die to this. So that's actually going to be 4 dice. And I'll use a supply. That means I'm rolling 5 dice on this attack. I'll roll 5 dice for this attack. Oh, look at that. I got 1 burst. Let me roll that in right here. I have 1, 2, oh, those are all successes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We only needed 3 plus 2 is 5, so he's toast. That means we'll gain a supply back, and he is off the board. So we have 2 supply. So then I'm going to use the wind here and exhaust this card to deal 1 damage to an enemy within range. My range is 5, so I can hit anyone. I'm going to go ahead and hit the Brave Servant, so he has only 5 health remaining. I'll remove that Moltenite from the board, and that's going to unfortunately end my turn. I'm then going to draw a card, and I have a feat, the Song of Violent Valor. We'll move to that threat phase. First, this Brave Servant is going to go and use this fire, and then the Flame Shaper is going to go and use this fire. So let's read everything. This one's going to engage. Now you can see here his range is 4. He's going to move up to 5 spaces. He's going to attack with Charisma as your defense. So we're actually going to have him attack me. We can do that because we're both 2 spaces away. We don't have to worry about the if unable, but he is going to place 1 threat token on this room's feature card. So that means the Alchemy desk has 1 threat token on it. Then the Flame Shaper is going to go. It's going to attack, this one is also the same spaces away, so it's going to attack Barrett. That one's hitting for 6, and then here each character suffers 1 damage for each threat token on their features card, so we're each going to take 1 damage. I'm going to do that now so we don't forget. We each have 6 points of damage. The Brave Servant will go first. He's going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because he can move 5 spaces. He's still within range 4 of me. And then the Flame Shaper will also move 1, 2, 3, 4. She can only move 4. She is within range of Barrett. Let's do the attacks. I have 1 armor, and I'm rolling 3 dice for this. I'm also rolling the 2 altar dice. Let's see what we get. I got 3 successes, so that means with the 3 successes and the 1 armor, I'm only taking 1 damage. I'll take that. So I'm at 7 damage. We now have Shadow and Wind in the altar pool.
Being attacked with agility, I get to roll 2 dice, and I got 2 successes. So I do have 1 innate armor, I do have an armor token, and we have 2 successes, so that's really a total of 4 damage being mitigated against us. So we're actually going to take 2 from this Flame Shaper's 6 attack, which is going to bring me up to 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. Oh man, I'm only down to 4 health left.
Next, we'll move to the villain phase. Place 1 focus on a new mask card. So this is coming from the supply. Now, the total amount of focus that's in the game is only 9 instead of 10. This has no effect right now. It only has an effect if we want to interact. And remember, this is going to hold a max of 2 focus. There's no water in the altar pool, so then we'll just draw a card. And this one says, each hero must either move 1 of their focus to a new mask card or resist Fortitude 5. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to move my focus. I do not want to do that resist 5. Each focus gained during this test must be placed on a new mask card instead. Here's the thing. That new mask card now is completely full, so any of the focus that Barrett gets from this roll, because I'm assuming you're going to resist. Yes, Barrett is going to resist, so because of that resist, he will not have to put any of that focus onto the new mask card. It's already full.
Now I do have 3 fortitude, so we're going to go ahead and roll this up. And we got a total of 1, 2, 3 successes. And look at that, 2 of those are bursts. So we're going to go ahead and roll a couple more dice into the tray. Oh, this is so good. I get bursts everywhere. We're going to burst it up. Okay, I think we're going to be just fine, but let's go ahead and count this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we get a focus. Now, we discussed this, and we don't think we're actually supposed to gain some focus during this because, of course, we should be putting on a Numis card, and technically, that's already full. But I don't think we should be taking the focus because this is a test that's supposed to be taking our focus from us.
Finally, the quest phase. Don't have to worry about this. We still don't control Hue. This one, each hero may discard 1 focus to change an altar die. We're not going to do that. There's no fire in the pool. And then for this one, a hero that's adjacent to this feature may heal a damage. That means Barrett has 1 less damage. He has a total of 7 damage on him. Okay, that's going to end this round. Let's move to the next one. Barrett's going to go ahead and go first. However, I can still do exhaust actions, so I'm going to exhaust with this. Place 1 melody token on a hero character or an enemy card. I'm going to give Barrett that melody token. Let's reroll this die. We'll give this die a roll, and we roll a fire.
Thanks to Colin's amazing roll for fire, I'm going to go ahead and use Road Warden, which we've seen before. I'm going to be able to move 2 spaces and then use my might to attack. And then I can roll 1 altar die if I wish. And of course, I am going to use the fire to go ahead and attach this card to an enemy in your room. Now, each agility and intellect targeting the attached enemy gains +1 die. And what we're going to do is just move up 1, 2 spaces so I can at least be able to attack these enemies. The Road Warden card allows us to reroll 1 altar die if we want to, and I'm going to go ahead and grab our light one, and I'm going to target the Brave Flame Shaper with 2 might and 2 altar dice. We got a total of 1 success, and I'm able to gain 2 of those focus tokens. So with that 1 success, all we're going to be able to do is take off the defense token. We're going to place our Road Warden's bounty onto the Bray Servant. Before we do our next action, I'm actually going to go ahead and exhaust both of these swords because these are amazing. Dawn's Edge and Dustfall are both going to exhaust. Now, when I do that, I have to exhaust this die to deal 1 damage to an enemy within range and then change 1 altar die to a shadow symbol. And of course, we're going to choose the fire because we don't like fire. Return to shadow. Then what we're going to do is we're going to exhaust our shadow die to go ahead and deal 1 damage to an enemy within range and then change another altar die to our light. And I think we're going to go ahead and turn our earth to light. The 2 damage are going to go onto the Bray Servant, leaving him with only 3 damage left, and I think we're going to try to take him out. But before we do that, we have to go ahead and re-roll the altar dice. Now let's go ahead and see what they turn into. Well, that's absolutely hilarious. They're going to stay the same. So I'm going to put those aside, and we're going to move into our next attack. I'm going to go ahead and attack the Bray Servant with our marked prey. Now this is where this guy really starts to shine. He's going to go ahead and attack with his fortitude, and if this attack defeats an enemy with an attached bounty card, you may return the attached card to your hand. Oh, I so hope we take him out. I think to make sure we do that, we're going to go ahead and use a supply to gain 4 dice. Let's see how this goes. We got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, and I can gain a focus token, which I believe is going to be, oh no, I do have to actually spend the token. Because if we look at our evil character here, he has a total of 1 armor here, and he still has to take 3 damage. So to get all the damage we need, I have to use this focus token, and that'll be enough to take him out. So we're going to gain back this supply, and the attached bounty is going to be returned to my hand. For my final action, I'm going to go ahead and use Duskfall. Duskfall attacks with agility, so I'm going to go ahead and use our potion to give myself an extra 2 dice. We're going to be rolling 4 dice against our Brave Flame Shaper. Let's see how this goes. I got 1, 2, 3, and 4. We even got a burst symbol. That's fantastic. Come on, keep them. Oh yes, more bursts. We love exploding dice. They're the best dice ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I could use a focus token if I wanted to for 6, but I don't think so. I think it's better to actually gain these focus tokens at this point. So instead, we're just going to do 5 damage. I know, only 5. Oh, totally excited about that. That leaves our Flame Shaper with only 2 health left. Hopefully Colin can do 2. He is kind of small. Maybe he might do it. And the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and exhaust Van Geyser himself to go ahead and move up to 2 spaces. Then I could attach a bounty card. I'm not going to attach the bounty card because, well, we did an absolutely amazing job against the Flame Shaper, and I'm sure Colin will take him out. But we are going to go ahead and roll the altar die, and it's got to be a water. That's fantastic. That's one of Colin's favorite colors.
Now that it's my turn, first thing I'm going to do is exhaust this, use that die he just rolled to choose a hero within range to gain 2 focus. Barrett is definitely within range 5. He now has 4 focus. Let's roll this up. I got some light. With all the excitement, we did forget to move Barrett 2 spaces. 1, 2, he's now 1 space away from the door. We can open this door because there's nothing in this room already. We've already cleared it, so I'm just going to put the door there showing that we can move through there. So then my first action, I'm just going to move 1, 2, 3 adjacent to this table. Action 2, I'm going to use my Willow's Slingshot, rolling 2 dice to attack that flame shooter. That's a burst. That's awesome. I'll roll another one in. Beautiful. I have 1, 2, 3 successes. I would gain a focus. Is there any focus left? Yes, there's 1 focus left. So I will have my 4th focus, and we're going to gain our 3rd supply and take this Bray off the board. Now, something that we did forget. At the end of Barrett's turn, this desk had 1 threat token on it. That means he should have taken 1 damage, so he'll go down to 8 points of damage. I'm then going to immediately try and get rid of that threat token by discarding 1 focus, and I'll roll my intelligence stats. My intelligence stat is 2. As long as I get 1 success, I got 1, and I'm going to gain that focus back, so I'm back to having 4. We're going to remove that 1 threat token from the desk. We're good to go. Then for my third and final action, I'm going to do the interact here on the alchemy desk. I'm going to search with my intellect, which is 2. I'm then going to use 1 supply, so it's 3. For each supply gained during this test, choose a character in this room to heal 1 damage. We're really looking for lots of bursts here. Burst, 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 burst. And no, we get 3 successes. I'm definitely going to use a focus for our 4th. First thing we get to do is draw a search card, and we get the potion of intellect, which will help our intellect if we want to use that. Then that was this one. We still have 3 successes. We'll gain 3 supply and we'll have 3 healing. I'm going to take 2 and Barrett's going to take 1. So Barrett's going to go down to 7 damage and I'll go down to 5 damage. Finally, we'll also place a search token on the desk. As usual, we forgot to draw a card, so at the end of our turns, I'm going to get the Song of Violent Valor. We've seen that, and a Marked Prey. We move to the threat phase, but there's no threats on the board. So we're going to activate here, place 1 focus on the new mask card. If unable, each hero has to discard 1. This can only hold 2, so we're each going to have to discard a focus token. I have 2 left, Barrett has 3 left. Then what we will do is draw a new card, and we have the Treachery of the Vizier. This card can only hold 2 focus. Each time a hero would draw a card, they may instead discard 1 focus from this. You have to discard 3 random cards from your hand to discard this card, and it's going to start soaking up our focus like nobody's business. Finally, for our quest phase, we can ignore this. Each hero may discard 1 focus to change one of these dice. I don't think any of us are going to do that. And then finally, a hero that's adjacent to the alchemy desk can heal 1 damage. I'm adjacent, so I'm going to go from 5 damage down to 4. That'll end this turn. Let's move to the next one.
Van Geyser is going to go ahead and charge into the next room. He's going to move action 1, 2, 3. And then at this point, I'm actually going to use the melody token that Colin so graciously gave me. And we're going to exhaust our character to be able to move 2 spaces. So we're going to move 1 over to open that door, and then we're probably going to move into the room. But of course, that depends on what is actually in the room. So let's go ahead and find out.
As usual, we'll start off with our feature card, and we have the Fungal Patch. So a hero adjacent to this feature may deal 1 damage to an enemy in this room, throwing fungal pieces at them, maybe. And then, of course, you can do your search. Next, we'll draw our quest card, and we have the cell. We found the cell, Bernd. As you open the door, you hear struggled breathing and the rattle of chains. A sour smell overwhelms you, accompanying the sight of such poor accommodations. A shadowy figure is hunched nearby, working pitilessly against the chains that bind them. As the prisoner, or Hugh, is alerted of your presence, they look up and plead for your help. Another shadow in the room curses and then flees into the darkness, most likely to report your intrusion. There isn't much time to waste. It's time to escort Hugh out of their wretched holdings. When revealed, attach this card to this room's feature card, so he's tied up to the fungal patch. Haven't figured that one out yet. And then we're going to spawn him adjacent to this room's feature. Well, Barrett and I are just realizing that if we draw the Raging Fires card, he may be in a heap of trouble, because remember that cage has 4 threat tokens on it already. So we're going to see what happens. Yeah, well, let's draw our first one. We have a Brea Flame Shaper. Is that the blue one? Is that the one that's hidden in the cage?
We'll find out.
Well, I think that's the one that's hidden in the cage. The one is going to break out and come at you from behind. That's terrible. Our second one will be a red Brea Servant. That'll be for me. And then our third one, we'll have the Flame Spray, because why not? Let's just make this more fun. Well, you all know how Barrett and I play games. We were a little bit risky, and this might have been bad. The Fungal Patch will spawn right here. Hugh will show up right here, which is nice. At least he's close. We will have the Brea Servant spawn over here. We're going to have the Fire Spray right in front of the door, right next to Van Geyser. And then guess what? That is definitely the Flame Shaper is the one inside of the cage. She's going to jump out, and she can jump adjacent to the cage. So this is diagonally adjacent, and as close to as many characters as possible. Yeah, she just showed up ready to attack Barrett.
The second action for Van Geyser is we have to try to get rid of that fire spray that's standing in that room. We're going to use a supply giving us 3 dice for this willpower test. Let's go ahead and see what we get. We got 1, 2, 3. That wasn't exactly what we were hoping for. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the focus token from our die roll and just do 2 progress on our fire spray. So sadly, that means we do have to use our third action. And our third action was going to be used for something else that was going to be way better than actually trying to get rid of the fire spray. But what we're going to do is roll up 2 dice and see what happens. We got a... We got enough to be able to at least handle the fire spray. I'm going to go ahead and use our focus token to go ahead and get our 2 successes here, but then I'm going to gain my focus token back from that die, giving us the 4 we need to get rid of the fire spray, and now we're going to see what we can do after that. Now these aren't actions, thank goodness I'm going to be able to do some damage on my turn. I'm going to go ahead and we are going to exhaust both Dawn's Edge and Dusk Fall. And the first one we're going to do is we're going to exhaust this light to go ahead and deal 1 damage to an enemy within range, and then I'm going to be able to change another die to Shadow. I'm going to go ahead and change this light one to Shadow, which then I'm going to go ahead and use on Dustfall. We're going to exhaust that die, and we're going to change a Shadow die back to light. So I really didn't change too many dice around, but you know, that's okay. We're still doing 2 damage. Since there's 4 threat tokens in our room on that cage, I'm going to go ahead and test our intellect by going and spending our focus token, at least try to get rid of some of those. I'm also going to go ahead and roll those alter dice all at the same time. So we've got ourselves 1, 2 successes, and I put fire in the pool. That roll at least gets rid of 2 of the threats on that feature, so I am still going to take 2 damage. Now, of course, that is going to come to the end of the turn, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw my card, and we have found, oh, shared bounty, where have you been all my life?
While Barrett's getting absolutely mutilated over there, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to brave the dark here, and I'm just going to do a search. It might be not exactly the most helpful, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So I'm going to search with my Fortitude, which is only 2, but I'm going to use a supply. It's a +1. I don't get the +1 for this because I do not have Melody tokens, unfortunately, but I wanted to play this because I can get rid of this fire. I can gain either 1 supply or 1 Melody token. Definitely going to gain a Melody token with that. Now remember, we've already searched the alchemy desk 1 time, so I need 2 successes to even have a successful search here. We had a terrible roll there. We have only 1 success. We have more shadow, because why don't we have more shadow and light? I'm definitely going to use 1 focus to get the 2 successes. So the first one gets canceled out by that search token. The second one, I will get a search card. Come on, be something good. Blinding Power. Exhaust a minion within range. This, beautiful. Literally beautiful. I will definitely be using that this turn. That will help Barrett out at least a little bit. And then, of course, I'm going to gain this focus back from this focus die. And now I'm going to place the second search token onto the alchemy desk. For my second action, I think I'm just going to move. I'm going to go 1, 2, and then 3. And then for my third action, I'm going to use my Bury Loot here. I'm going to test my Charisma. I'm going to discard a supply. We have 3 supply left, so I'm going to roll 4 dice on this. For each success, I can place 1 Melody token on an enemy card or a hero card, and I'm assuming it has to be within range 5. I'll roll my 4 dice here, and I've got 1 bursting success. Oh, that's terrible. I have 3 successes there. I think I'm going to use 1 focus and then immediately gain it back with the other one. So that's going to give me 1, 2, 3, 4 Melody tokens. And like I said, I'll gain this back with this one. Now I have to decide who to give the Melody tokens to. So I've decided to give 2 Melody tokens to myself and 2 to Barrett. Then what I'm going to do is exhaust water, but of course we never have water. All we have is light and shadow. So I'm going to use one of the, well, that's a focus token. I'm going to use one of the Melody tokens that I just earned. I'm going to choose a hero within range to gain 2 focus, and that is going to be Barrett. So Barrett's now going to have 4 focus. Next, I'm going to play the Song of Violent Valor. This is a feat, so I can do that even though all 3 of my actions have been used. Each hero with a Melody token heals 1 damage. So I'm going to go down to only 3 damage, and Barrett is going to go down to only 8 damage. Wow, that still sucks. Then, because I have a Melody token that I'm going to use, each hero may either gain 1 Melody token or discard 1 Melody token to attack using their might, targeting an enemy adjacent to them. So I can't do that. I can just gain this Melody token back because of this, but Barrett is planning on using his Melody token, one of his 2, so that he can then do the attack of 2 on the Flame Shaper.
Thank you so much, Colin, for letting me go ahead and attack. I'm going to use one of our supply to do it too. So we're going to roll 3 dice. Come on, big money. Oh, look at that. We got 1, 2, 3, and I can spend a focus token for 4. I was really hoping for some bursting dice, but that's okay. We did get 4 actual successes. So that's going to mean she's going to take 3 damage and she's going to lose this armor token.
I was really hoping we'd be able to take out that Flame Shaper. Wasn't able to. I'm going to blame Barrett on that one. So instead, I'm going to use this. So there's an exhaust and a use. I'm not going to use the exhaust. I'm just going to use the use effect and then discard it. She's within range 5 of me, and I'm going to exhaust her card. This means she will not activate, so it'll protect Barrett at least a little bit. Final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to discard this focus, and I'm going to do this test as well, trying to get rid of the remaining 2 threat that's on the cage card. I roll 2 for my intellect test. Just need 2 successes here, and I've got 1 with 1 focus. That's perfect. I'll use my other focus to get my second success. That will remove all of the threat from the cage. We've gotten rid of all that fire. And then I'm going to end my turn simply by drawing a card, and I have the Lingering Melody. We're going to move to the threat phase. Currently, we have 2 threats on the board, but remember, we exhausted the Flame Shaper, so she's not going to do anything. The Bray Servant, though, is going to engage and try and attack using Charisma as defense for 5. Unfortunately, that's going to go towards Barrett. The Bray Servant simply needs to move 1 space up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, they can see through the door just to this space, so he can see Barrett here, and he's going to attack him for 5.
Sadly, Van Geyser's worst stat is Charisma, so he only gets 1 die. So, of course, we are going to decide to use one of these because, oh man, we're on the ropes. We didn't have exactly the greatest turn. We're going to roll these up and hopefully defend. Oh, we got a burst. That's what we need to see. We need more bursts. Okay, well, we got 1, 2, 3. That's pretty good because I have to spend these focus tokens. So we're going to spend that to get 3 successes, meaning I'm only going to take 2 damage, but I do have 1 innate defense, so I'm only going to take 1. Oof. We came out of this, I think, a little bit better than I thought.
Next, we'll move to the villain phase. We have Activate. Place 1 focus on a new masked card. We can do that. That's from the supply. We have 4 or 5 in the supply left. No water in the pool. All there is light and shadow. Thanks, Barrett. These ones won't do anything, so let's go ahead and draw our next card, and we have the New Masked Legacy. Place 1 focus on each New Masked card. If no New Masked card is in play, move the top New Masked card into play and place 1 focus on it. Don't have to worry about that. Can't place a focus here, but I'll have to place a second focus on that card. Our next step is the quest phase. This one, nobody controls Hugh yet. That's hopefully going to happen soon. And then for our Scorched Altar, each hero may discard 1 focus. Definitely don't want to do that. We're not in the altar's room. There's no fire in the pool, and no one is adjacent to any of the other features. That will end our quest phase. Let's move to the next turn.
Van Geyser's going to go ahead and go first. This seems to be a reoccurring theme in the game, but you know, when you're a big giant horse, you always like to get in the forefront of everything. The first thing we're going to do is use every single altar dice we have, because we can. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play this card, which is an action and it's ongoing. So that means we're going to have to use our first action to do this, but that's okay. This is going to be placed out on the board. I can go ahead and use it if I want to, but I'm not. I'm just going to go ahead and exhaust this light to attach a discounted party card to an enemy within range, and our Flame Shaper is in range. I'm going to attach Persistent Tracker to her, which allows her to give us an extra supply if she is defeated. And spoiler alert, she's not going to be around for long. So we're going to go ahead and attach this to her, and then I'm going to go ahead and exhaust both Dawn's Edge and Dusk Fall. These are both going to do 1 damage to this enemy, bringing it to 7. She's going to go ahead and die, giving us 2 supply, which is awesome. Now, doing that, I have to go ahead and exhaust a light die and turn 1 of the dice to a shadow die. So we're going to go ahead and turn this to shadow, and then this one makes me take a shadow die and exhaust it and turn this one to light, so that's pretty funny. So we're going to go ahead and roll these 3 dice in the altar pool, and we've gone ahead and taken out our Bray Flame Shaper. We're going to roll these up and hopefully not get fire. We got 2 earth and a wind. I know Colin's going to like that wind. Van Geyser is a token mess, and he's going to go ahead and exhaust himself using this die to allow himself to move 2 spaces and then attach a bounty card from my hand to an enemy within range. We're not probably going to do the bounty part, but I am going to do the 2 movement, and I really wish I had less of those tokens on me. Rerolling that altar die, we turn it into another light. Yes! Van Geyser's going to go ahead and move his 2 spaces closer into the room. There's a couple cards attached to Hugh. We're going to go ahead and resolve these the best we can. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and test my fortitude here, and if we pass that test, I'm going to use my second action to go ahead and interact test 3, and if we pass, we can discard this card and gain control of the prisoner. Let's see if Van Geyser can endure the prisoner's panicked flailings. I sure hope he can. He's a horse that's 3 times as tall as this guy. Let's see how we do here. Oh, check that out. He's not even going to endure it. He's going to burst it. Let's see here. Oh, we're bursting straight through this guy. Oh, yeah, we endured everything. You can pound on us as much as you want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Now let's go ahead and see if we can test our other one, which is going to be agility. Now, this one I need to roll 3 successes, and I only have 2. So we are going to go ahead and use a supply. Wish I could have kept that die. We're going to roll these up and see what happens to us. We got a total of 1, 2, and again, we're bursting. All right, that's 3, and I'm going to gain a focus token for this. And we have been able to discard the card, and now we have gained control of Hugh, who has 1 damage on him. We have to remember that. And we're not sure if it's actually pronounced Hugh, but I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I convinced Colin here that that's actually pronounced Hugh, kind of like that Borg. Now that we have control of Hugh, I'm going to go ahead and exhaust him, and that allows us to move him 4 spaces, and then we can either attack with intellect, which is not going to happen, and we're going to go ahead instead roll 2 altar dice, and Colin is not a fan of shadow and light as much as I am, so we're going to go ahead and roll these. Exhausting Hugh gives us 4 movement, and we're going to run to the altar as fast as we can. Well, actually, he's kind of an old guy. He's probably just kind of moving as fast as he can. With my last action, we're going to go ahead and search our fungal patch. We're going to interact with it using fortitude, which again is our best stat. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to use one of our supply, giving us 4 dice. Let's roll them up. We got a total of 1, 2, and a burst. So we're going to burst that die. And we got 3 successes, a burst, which is another success. And I could go ahead and use my focus token to give us 5 successes. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing roll. We're going to first use our first success to gain a search card. And our search card is a potion of healing. Oh, where were you a couple turns ago? But that's okay. We survived at least. Maybe I might even use it now. We'll see. Then, of course, we get a ton of supply from this. We're going to go ahead and gain 3 supply plus the 1 in here. So we've got 4 supply coming from this. Wow, those mushrooms, we just totally reaped the rewards. Now, the bottom of the fungal patch card does, of course, say that for each supply we gain during this test, we're going to deal 1 damage to an enemy in this room, meaning we are actually going to hit that servant for 4 damage. And, of course, we're going to place our search token on the feature, making it a little bit tougher next time. That's going to end Van Geyser's turn, and we're going to gain a card, Discerning the Prey.
First thing I'm going to do for my turn is play this feat card. I'm just going to do the top action. Each hero with a melody token heals 1 damage. So each of us will heal 1 damage. That will put Van Geyser down to 8 damage, and I'll only have a measly 2. For my first action, I'm going to go ahead and move 1, 2, and 3. Moving here, I'm adjacent to the fungal patch, but I'm also the same distance away from this servant. That way, if we do get attacked, he can attack me because my charisma is so much better than someone over there. So then what I'm going to do for my second 2 actions is I'm going to try and do an interact. My fortitude is 2, so I'll roll 2 dice. I have 2 successes. One's canceled from this. The second one, we get to gain a search card, and I have a potion of willpower, so I can increase my willpower for that. I'm then going to drop a second search token on here. And then for my third action, why the heck not? I'm going to just roll these 2. Let's see what we can find. I have 2 successes. I didn't get to do anything here. I should also mention, oh no, I didn't get to do any damage to him either because I didn't gain any supply. So that'll be all 3 of my actions. I'll go ahead and draw a card, and I have the Verse of Diversion. Ooh, this one is a cool one. We're going to move to that threat phase. The only threat we have out is that servant. He's going to attack me. I'm at 1, 2, 3. I'm at 1, 2, 3. So actually he can move 1 space away. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can probably move 1 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there we go. He is within range 4 of me. He can attack me, and I can roll for my charisma as defense. He's attacking me for 5 damage. I'll roll these 3 up. I've got 1 burst. That's nice. I'll roll this in. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks, plus I have 1 armor for 5. Totally blocked that. I'll also gain 1 focus. We'll move to the villain phase. We'll have activate, place 1 threat or 1 focus on a new mask card. We can't because both of them are full, so we're each going to discard 1 focus. Barrett now has 1 and I have none. We're then going to draw her next card. She has Lust for Laoon. This card can only have 2 focus on it. Each time a hero searches, they may spend 1 success to discard 1 focus from this card. Then if no focus remain on this card, the hero may discard 1 search card to discard this card. So it's just another one of hers that's out on the board. Finally, we'll move to the quest phase and get this. If a hero controls Hugh, each hero with no minion in their threat area draws 1 threat card. Bernd took out his threat, so he has to draw a new one, and he's going to grab the Raging Fires card. Each hero must place 1 threat token on their room's feature card. That is going to be the fungal patch. So we're going to place 2 threat tokens on the fungal patch, and then we're each going to suffer 2 damage. So that means Bernd has 8 right now. He's going to go to 10 damage out of 12, and I'll go to 4 damage out of 10. Okay, that's not a problem. No one has one of the fire sprays, so we don't have to worry about that. We've done this one. We can do this one. Each hero may discard 1 focus. We're not going to do that. There's no fire in the pool. And then we have this one. A hero adjacent to this feature may deal 1 damage to an enemy in this room. We'll deal 1 damage to that Bray Servant. He has 5 damage. He only has 1 health left. That will end this turn. I think we can do it this next turn before Morgan even comes out. Awesome.
Van Geyser is going to go ahead and start. We're going to go ahead and search this fungal patch. I am going to use one of my supply, giving us a total of 4 dice. Come on, we need a good roll in here. And I got 1, 2, 3 with 2 bursts. This is going to be fantastic. All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, and I could go ahead and use this focus token for a 5th success, which means we've gone over the search token limit by 3. Our first one is, of course, going to be a search card, and we have found a potion of charisma. That's how I become more charming. And the next thing we get to do is grab some supply. We're going to gain 2 more supply because, of course, we're over this by 3. 2 of them is going to turn into supply. I've got 1 right here, and we're going to gain another one, which is going to give us a total of 6 total supply. Now, of course, gaining those supplies also is going to deal damage to that Bray Servant, and the poor Bray Servant doesn't have enough to be able to withstand this attack. So the mushrooms that we have searched has apparently put spores all through the room, and he has died from inhaling too many spores. And he is going to give us a supply as well. Now we're going to go ahead and see if we can make it out of here with the prisoner. We're first going to exhaust Hugh, and he's going to move his speed value of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 up next to that altar. Now I have to be adjacent to that altar as well as Hugh. So I'm going to use my second action to move 1, 2, 3, and then we use my next action to move 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm 1 square away. What are we going to do about that? I've got a plan. We're going to go ahead and exhaust that die to give myself that 2 movement, and ta-da! We were victorious. We saved the prisoner. Let's just check them to make sure we are right. It says if a hero controls Hugh and its miniature is adjacent to the altar and at least 1 hero with no enemies in the room, then we win. And that is the deal. We have won.
Let's go ahead and look at the campaign upkeep here. Now, there is an FAQ, so let's actually check that out instead. It states here on page 379 and 11, replace the text in this text box directly under the campaign upkeep with the following. Each hero heals all damage, discards all focus, discards all threat tokens, discards all armor tokens. I'm going to say it's also discarding all of our melody tokens. And we're going to discard all the search cards that we found. Then for every 3 supply the party has, they may reveal 1 random equipment card. Then each hero may choose 1 revealed equipment card to add to the journal, which means that anybody can use it in another round as long as you have the space to do it. We have a total of 7 supply. That means I'm going to be able to reveal 2 equipment cards. Thank you, Bernd. That means we're just going to add both of these to the journal. Let's see what we get. We have the Ancient Relic. Your Inflict and Resist tests for willpower gain +1, and you can exhaust light during your willpower test to gain +1 die. Cool. And our other one is going to be an Enchanted Cloak. Add your Charisma to your health value. I like that. Exhaust water to gain 1 armor token. Cool. If the heroes won the quest, we can read the following. What would my life be like without heroes to come and save me whenever I get myself into trouble? The old man laughs, oddly, calmly, as he steps out from behind a pile of artfully stacked debris. Clad in a long yellow robe that only adds to the paleness of his elderly human skin, his wrinkled hands smoothing the gnarls in his ashen beard. Oh, where are my manners, he gasps. While I've held many titles and have been called many things, he bows, you may call me Hugh. Each hero adds 1 random hero upgrade card belonging to their hero to the journal. I'll show you that. We're going to add Hugh to the journal, then go to 16. Something else we're going to do is, even though we didn't lose the quest, we're going to add 1 random enemy upgrade to the journal. So the one I picked is the Dark Resilience. So now each minion's going to have +1 health, and then each villain will have +2 health. We each grabbed one random upgrade card. I've gotten Battle Hymn, and Barrett has Well Equipped. I had stopped here for a quick overnight on my way up to the spire, Hugh explains, as you work your way out of the cellar rooms and to the ground floor, stopping for a moment to scoop up a half-split crock of rum from a leaning table and throws back a deep drink. Spitting out a small shard of fired clay, the old man heads straight out into the afternoon air. Those things have been on my tail since before Grunnick, but I thought the old wards here would keep them out. He rubs the back of his neck and tosses the empty jug aside. Obviously, too many of the altars are awake, he chuckles half to himself, or Arkenhold is all full up and the bars are just getting rattled. We can either ask him about the altars, ask him about Arkenhold, or just let him ramble. I am all for letting him ramble. The Arkenspire, you know, was where Queen Valerie, just a bedamned lady at the point in her life, allowed the sacrifice of her one true love. It was no secret that the Lich Queen, Sarah, was using the Arkenspire to fuel her undying armies through her favorite puppet, Lorik. Lady Valerie and her betrothed, Sir Ellen Thorne, led a small band of heroes into the Arkenspire, and only Lady Valerie ever emerged, but did so in bittersweet victory. Hugh sniffles, his eyes glassy with tears as if his own story was tugging at his heart. We can now choose the following: either ask more about Lady Valerie, ask about Sir Ellen Thorne, or just let him continue. At this point, let's let him continue. With the mortal worlds in Lorik's vile clutches and the imprisoned Sarah impotent from within the Arkenhold, the Dreadlord was too preoccupied to see the heroes approach or the arrival of Sarah's one and true son, the magnanimous godling Kretch. It was actually Kretch that made the deal to inhabit Thorne's body and wield Valerie's legendary blade to destroy Lorik. The vampiric traitor Morse Bolton would take the remains and keep them from falling back into Sarah's agent's hands, but it was Kretch's brilliant plan and the two lovers' sacrifice that actually toppled Lorik's vile rule. Each hero now must test their intellect 3. If at least one hero passes, go to 023, otherwise continue to chapter 2. Well, we're both at intellect 2, and we have no focus. We had to discard it, so it's just going to be whatever we roll. First roll will be for Barrett. He usually gets the burst. He got a burst. Come on, come on. That's 3. Beautiful. Let's just see if I would have succeeded. It's always fun to see. Nope, I would have gotten 1 success. Typical. Catching a brief pause in Hugh's tale, you interject about Kretch throwing the realm into chaos by trying to free Sarah from the Arkenhold, reminding Hugh that the magnanimous and brilliant Kretch was still a trickster demigod and was thwarted by Queen Valerie only 15 years ago. Hugh nods in agreement, deep furrows crossing his brow nonetheless. Well, yeah, he huffs. He had a few bad days afterward, but who wouldn't want to try and free their mother from an otherworldly hell? Seeing that he isn't going to get the rousing support he wants, he folds his arms and nods to the horizon. We should pick up the pace and get to shelter before nightfall. There's no telling what might be out here now the altars are awake. And that should complete Chapter 1. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. Barrett and I had a blast recording it. It's always great to play with Barrett. So much fun. And this game, I mean, I don't know about you if you're playing it. I have felt like it's a tad bit on the easier side. The heroes are super strong. So adding that one additional threat card and having one enemy upgrade when you first start, it has sung for us at that level. I've played now, I think, 3 times that way, and it is every time it's come down, it's been much closer of a game. I mean, Barrett had, only 1 or 2 health left at the end? Yeah, super good. So check that out if you want to try that for your game. We'll be doing Chapter 2 within the next 2 weeks. Hope you guys will join us there. We'll catch you at the next stop.